update for you then. The rear subframe is out, and the reason is because there was a little smash up the back. The bolt holes for the rear of the subframe do not line up, so we've got to do some fixing on there. But while this is out, there are some good things, because notice that there's bolts hanging out of these arms and stuff. So if I hadn't have took that out, I might have missed that one. I'd like to think I wouldn't, but I also think I might have. So that's a plan of attack on that. We're gonna have to use the porta power just to sort of open that gap up a little bit, get those bolt holes in alignment. And then last week came down, made this bracket here. Didn't have any welding tools, so this is actually for the power steering reservoir, and the other bracket's obviously part of it. Just goes here basically. I'll see if I can show you. I haven't bought a big camera today, so I'm going to be like one-handed on everything. Because I didn't have a welder, I had to improvise, so I used a bit of, I think that's like 1.5 by 3/4 inch steel box section. I just widened it out, and it's a really good fit. So I thought I'll just go with that. So that's done. I've got this ride seat rail that can go in now, because I'll tell you what, let me get a torch, hang on. I have done the pedals, so that was a couple weeks back. I spent about 4 hours with my head there doing these stupid pedals. I've never ever liked doing pedals, but there you go, it's done now. So that's all up in there. Got a JZX100 brake pedal from Garage D in the end, because the 110 pedal that I got just there's no way it was going to fit. Anyway, these stupid covers are going to be coming off. I don't know who put them on, but they're wavy. And then I was going to suggest a little wiring tidy up, but I think we'll save that for another day. But yeah, this seat rail can go in, and then this little Sparko Grid Q vinyl seat can go in, and then that's that done. Bear with. Yeah, that's it. So that's what it looks like when it's installed. That's the bracket. You can hardly see it now, so that's all you see is that part of it there. So got a little bit of clearance on here, like minor amounts, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. We can just bracket that off at some point if required. So feed line to hydro fan, the exit line from the hydro fan goes into the cooler, back out the cooler, into the res, and then that is the feed line to the pump, and then back through to the hydro, and that's it. So that's that bit done. It took a bit of patience, because last week I just painted that and I wanted to put it on straight away. I'm so impatient, but I remembered last time that I did something like that, and it looked rubbish after, because it was all dirty and horrible. So that's in. A couple of other jobs I've got to do on this actual engine. So I don't know if anyone noticed earlier, but missing a throttle cable bracket. So I found a few on eBay, but they're like 80 quid. So I think I can fab one up. I'm not sure if a 3D printed ABS version would hold out, but it might be worth a punt. So I'm gonna have a look into that. I've got a vac line to sort out. So this vac line here, let's take that off. So on the 90, this vac line was just blocked off, and I was having running issues with it. Well, not running issues, just starting up issues, so it wouldn't idle properly after the engine had warmed up. And on the diagrams I've got them in that bag of vac silicone tubing over there. This goes to the map sensor. So mine on the 90, the map sensor was plumbed in exactly the same as this to down there, and it caused massive running issues. So I've blocked this port off, and then the map sensor, as per the diagram, is fed by that line there, coming off that little valvey solenoid thing. Well, it's not a solenoid, off the valve thing, and then goes straight into this, and then it stopped the issue I had with the car bogging down after warm-up. I thought it was to do with the IAC, but it's not. Plus I couldn't get it off anyway, so it was a bit of a result that it wasn't that. So yeah, I'm gonna remember that when the time comes. I mean, I can put that one straight in, but I think I'm going to replace this one just for another line. Another thing to do is to connect this to here, but I have noticed that there's some AN fittings that not drop in, but I can't remember if they self-tap into these holes. So I might upgrade the ones on the 90, and at the same time I might chuck one on there and one on there, just for sort of ease of installation, because this is actually a bit of a nightmare to connect. On the 90, I think I've got a 90-degree elbow coming out of there, and then a straight pipe, as in an oil feed pipe like this one, but I haven't got any of that handy yet. So another thing that's missing is this coolant temp. Oh, it's so cold today, I won't even focus. This coolant temp sensor here is missing, and I have got one coming. I ordered a couple off eBay for it, and they both turned up and they were the wrong ones. Got oil filter to sort out, got all the fluids here as well, which I'm sure I've already said, but they can't go in yet. I could do the clutch, but there's not much point in that. The brake lines are all cut, so there's one there. On this side we had the ABS in here, so I think that there is no, oh yeah, that is the brake line that goes down through there. So I'm going to put new lines in, but after I did the 90 build, I borrowed the brake line flaring tool and kit for that. So I've got brake line left over, but I haven't got the kit, so I'm going to buy the kit, and then that's a bit more self-sufficient. So anyway, the oil filter I was talking about, I can't get that out at the minute. I have got a tool that does work, but for some reason I just can't get it in there because of the angle. On the 90 I've done a relocation kit. The tool I've got for this one is this, but I actually found that on the floor on the side of the road one day, which I was well pleased with, but I think I need to get hold of. My mate's got one which has like 3 arms on it, and as you turn it, it fits onto a socket. As you turn it, they sort of cam in and tighten up. So I want to try and get hold of one of them, because the most simple task is not that simple without it. Oh, this is going to be the worst. Oh my god, it stinks in here. Told you it's cold, didn't I? Well, I was going to fit the seat, however, I forgot how manky these Sparco seat mounts are, so I'm going to give them a quick paint up. Looks like someone has, or whether they come from Sparco like that, they must have. But they are grotty, so they're getting painted first, so that seat rail's not going in today. For some reason I can't get the socket in here today. I don't know why. And this is boring now, aren't they? Look, these bits are ruined, so that'll just have to be the way it is. Not a lot else I can do today, because I was going to do these and also the rear subframe bit, but it's so cold and the toilets here ain't working, and I need the toilet, and it's uncomfortable to work. So I'm going to leave these for a week, so I'll come back next weekend maybe, and then they can go on. So this is what I've done. Minor things. Let's have a look. That is the line I was talking about, that vac line to the MAF there. So no, not MAF, the map sensor. And that has literally, because that one is the one that I was saying goes from, on the 100 it goes from there to the map sensor, and it should go from here. So this one I've just put a screw in, a bit of silicone pipe, and then that's bunged that off, and now it's working perfect. And I replaced that, and the other one's gone on the 100, so that is there. There's nothing nice in there to see except the Toyota name, which is convenient, but that could do with looking smart. But I won't do an engine light. I don't need the HKS cams, the pulleys, because I just don't need that. This is just like it could be a daily driver. There's no performance mods on this really. It's just been modded to be more reliable. So like these cam covers, I will paint them at some point, but they're not important enough to paint. It all works, everything's fine. So I just checked as well. I brought this home. If anyone can guess before I get there, you win £1 million on the lottery if you pay. This don't fit, look, because obviously it's supposed to go underneath there, so I'll have to take that off. I can't really be bothered to do that, and I don't actually think, to be fair, I don't think it's going to fit with or without the cover, so I think that's going to have to go. It may fit, but I don't really want to spend all that time doing it for it not to fit. So what I'm going to do instead, not today, is disconnect all these Yaris, the Denso coils. Then I'm going to thread this loom underneath the coolant pipe at the back, underneath this. Is that a coolant pipe? No, it's not. Underneath that, it's an air pipe, isn't it, for that IAC. But I'm going to route it underneath there, underneath this connecting pipe, and then hopefully I can just measure all these points, draw something on CAD, get it laser cut. I've got plans to get a laser cutter. I'm building a workshop down the end of the garden, which is going to be on my other channel, which I haven't mentioned, which is called Get Your Wood Out. So if you want to go in there and see some woodwork, see all the other stuff I do that's not related to cars, you'll see why cars are not my speciality. I'm actually a professor of woodworking. So jump on there, it's Get Your Wood Out. And that's a funny name, but there's a story to that which I'll go into one day on that channel, but not on here. Nothing else really going on with this. I have got plans, and lots of people have been asking about these over fenders. I have got plans to do them. I've got the moulds here, they just need a refresh. There's a few, I've never done fiberglassing before in my life, yeah, so it was a big deal for me to make moulds on this actual car, using the car as the plug, and then pull these off. What I want to do it's obviously fixed up the mould. So there's bits where I polished it where I didn't have a thick enough gel coat on there, sorry, a tooling gel coat when I made the moulds. So some of these bits I'm not quite sure what to do. Maybe a good coat of PVA or release agent will mean that I don't have to fix those bits. But down here there were sections that pulled out with the actual part that I pulled out of the mould. So where I've sanded them down to try and eliminate the rough areas, I'll need to just re-gel coat those bits with a bit of tooling coat and the wax additive. So these were really the most difficult bits, where we've got these little mould swages on here. I didn't need to put them in, but they just followed the line, so I thought, oh, I'll just do it. And then these rear sections, so these are the door sections, these rear sections are all good. A few little areas where we had like a little air pocket there. This swage line come out nice. Then the mould which has the filler flap, this entire swage line had bubbles in the tooling gel coat, so that all cracked through. I don't know if you can see that there. So they just need some work. But if I spent a day on these, maybe 2 days, I'd get these right. Oh, and you'll probably notice all these dots. What I wanted to do was to mark, so I did all these bolt holes on these. Well, not bolt holes, they're like security style screws. They all needed to be in the same place. This is all mud, by the way, just ignore that. So yeah, they all wanted to be in the same place. So if I ever wanted to replace these, I would have basically a pattern on this mould to show me where these holes have got to be. So each one of these I'll need to put tooling gel coat in, and just leave them proud of the surface, just so there's an obvious mark. And then when the part comes out, these are obviously set into this mould, so when I put a little bobble of gel coat on these, hopefully it'll all bond together nice. They will provide like an indent on the part, so then it's sort of a almost like a little guide pilot hole for it. There's loads of little bits on these, look, like a bit of deterioration of the tooling gel coat on here, which I just don't have the experience to know why that happened or what the issue was that I could have prevented that, but we're here now. So yeah, that's the update on them. So the moulds are here. I've got all my composites in there. That is a carbon weave and that is a fiberglass weave. So I want to do a set of carbon over fenders for this, and then I'll pull these over fenders off and they'll be for sale. So the reason these are going to get sort of retouched and updated is because I can't do a carbon set on these currently. Also for carbon I need an extra bit of skirt to come out the side, so probably about another 2 to 3 inches of skirt on the side, so that I can create a vacuum. So I'll put a vacuum on it and then we can infuse these. But currently the only thing I can do on these is a wet layup, which is only really suitable for fiberglass. You can do it with carbon fibre, but it's just not ideal really. So yeah, this is where the 90 is sitting right now, and it has been out and about. I just put it in here because I was sick of putting stuff in front of the driveway to stop people nicking it.